even though I live in Hong Kong and all my students are Chinese, I don't know Mandarin, unfortunately. Yeah, I need to learn. First, thanks for coming. I know today is like a really horrible day, weather-wise. But yeah, so I appreciate you coming here today. Yeah, so I'm here to talk about like our MA program at Hong Kong Polytechnic University, as well as like just talk about like masters in general. Okay. But let me just introduce myself properly. So yeah, my name's Ryan Holton. I'm the program leader, program director, for MA Fashion and Textile Design at PolyU. I've lived in Hong Kong now for over 6 years. I never expected myself to kind of end up there, but it happened. I've worked in education total around like 10 years of experience working in education globally. Worked as a designer and pattern maker for a total of around 8 years. I worked as an art director for a couple of years and worked as a visual learning associate for a huge brand in the UK for over 2 years. Other interesting fact, it's my first time here in Shanghai, believe it or not, ever. And it's also my birthday today. I'm years old. So, where I studied, so I began my learning journey at Manchester Metropolitan University when it was Manchester Met. I studied fashion technology for a couple of years and then I thought, oh god, this degree is really boring, too technical. And then heard great things about Salford University, went there, did my degree, loved it. And then just took some time out working in industry. And then decided at age 33 to embark upon my MA at the Royal College of Art, where I received a full fee scholarship. And it was an amazing experience, but I'll talk more about that another time. Later on, sorry. Do you know Colleen from Edinburgh?
Yeah.
We were classmates.
Oh.
That's how I'm here. About me, after I graduated, so before working at the Royal College of Art, indeed I did work as a designer and whatever. And then during my MA as well, I even taught part-time at London College of Fashion for 2 years as a VL. And then when I graduated, I got like a job at Levi's in San Francisco, and they asked me to kind of work on the branding of their Made in Crafted line. At the same time as well, I was also responsible for doing the Off-White collaboration. So I worked with Virgil Abloh on the Spring-Summer 2017 collection. Also worked at David Comer. I mean, this is all my stuff that I did, even though it's for David Comer. Did a season there, and then was doing a lot of freelance, and then in the end, I was like, I kind of miss teaching, to be honest. And so went back into working into education. Most recent thing I've done outside of my job at PolyU is, you know the shoe brand Camper? Yeah, you heard of it? Yeah. So I have a really good relationship, quite a few brands, but particularly with Camper. So I was responsible for kind of creating a workshop where we were in Spain for like 10 days, and we invited the best fashion design graduates from the best schools in Europe. So IFM, Head Geneva, LCF, Swedish School of Textiles, etc. And for a total of 10 days, we worked on like shoes, accessories, concepts, and at the end also put it together as an exhibition. It was really amazing. I must say, it was probably one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. So, I'm here to talk about MAs. May I ask in the room who wishes to study for an MA? Who wants to do an MA?
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand high. I want to see it. So there's a few of you, right? Have you thought why? Why do you want to do an MA? Why do you want to do an MA?
My parents asked me
I'm glad you said that, because it's very common here in China, unlike anywhere else in the world. There is this huge expectation for nearly everyone to obtain a master's. And generally that comes from parents' expectations, generally. Other expectations are as well is that a lot of jobs require you to have an MA, correct? In the UK and the West, that's not a thing. Like, you can get a great job without an MA. But you seriously have to think about why you want to do an MA. So, regardless of whether it's just about a job or whether it's about parents' expectations, like, why do you really want to do it? What will you gain from doing an MA personally? How will it help you to reach your professional or personal goals? When looking for an MA, it's really important to be true to yourself in terms of what you want to get out of an MA, how it will help you, what you will learn. Not just skills, not just, extra knowledge, but the most important thing, I feel, is what you learn about yourself. Because on the BA, you're just going through the motions. You'll do a class in this subject, a class in that subject, a class in this subject, and you're just learning the fundamental skills, the fundamental knowledge related to that subject, which are, of course, important to know, but at what point are you given the room and the space to explore and find yourself at degree level? Not much. When I did my MA, like I said, I was 33 years old. I'd worked in industry. My reasons for doing an MA, I already had a job. I was already, actively in the creative industry. But my reasons were really personal. It was because I was working for other people that I felt that I lost myself and who I was. And I just really wanted to find myself, who Ryan was, who Ryan is, and what Ryan wants to do with his life. And so the MA was just a lot more than just do an MA to get the certification, to get a job. Indeed, what do I want to gain from the MA? Yeah, I wanted a good job at the end of it, and studying at the Royal College of Art, it could help with that. I'll be honest, during my 2 years there, and Colin will probably add to this, you are encouraged to create this personal world of your own work, and it's really self-indulgent, and it's really special and amazing. But the problem is when you go into the real world, they don't get it. Industry doesn't understand you. They don't understand your work. They don't see it the way that you do. What they want from you is that, can you do the job that you're applying for? Do you have the skills? Can you do tech packs? Have you ever worked with product development before? Etc., etc. So if I was to ever do my MA again, it would indeed have elements of that where it's really related to the real world in the industry. Because if you think about it, if you're just creating your own thing, you're almost like behaving like an artist, so to speak, and just making things. Like, how can you sustain that? How can you sustain that? How can you fund it? Would your parents be happy to just keep on giving you money just to make stuff and not bring any money home? It's things really to think about. So my advice to you when you're actually applying or considering for an MA, just ensure that that MA can give you what you want and what you need. And there are MAs that have very distinct kind of values or things that make them special and unique. For me, the Royal College of Art and Central St Martin's are very good at personal development, identity development and defining your practice as a designer. But I don't think they realistically prepare you for the real world industry. So from my experience of studying on the MA, having previously worked in industry, then going back into industry, there was a lot of things that I really wanted to implement into when I became program leader of this my MA. There was lots of things that I wanted to integrate into there to make sure that we fulfilled all the needs of the students, whether it's, you know, not just about personal kind of identity development, but kind of introducing you to the best industrial practices, preparing you for the professional world, even helping you and guiding you to leverage technology. I mean, we're in a digital age, so how you can utilize and leverage on technology, how you can kind of create the desirable skill set that the industry wants, that the real world needs. So, about our program, which is MA Fashion and Textile Design at PolyU, as I say, much of what the program is what I believe, I feel I would have benefited from, other students would have benefited from when we were students at the RCA. So the program's just a year long, it's like 45 weeks and it's full time. It starts September, ends middle of July. And the curriculum, it's a new curriculum, we always update it. It's personal creative identity, professional practice, virtual fashion creation, creative methodology, fashion technology and product development, and fashion branding. Then we have design practice and ideation, which is more of a specialist subject. I'll talk a little bit more about that for you. And then you have personal major project as well, where you're assessed on your collection, thesis, portfolio, presentation. So, if I was to define our MA in kind of three things that I believe we are good at, which is our value proposition, it would be that we're very good at creative identity development, really strong. Product development and engineering, entrepreneurship and brand development. I'm going to show you some examples and then you'll understand more so why we have these. So about personal creative identity, this is about how you define your personal identity and establish ways in which you can creatively express who you are and bring your identity forward. It's not about fashion, this actually. There's no reference to fashion whatsoever. But indeed, it's about questions. It's about who are you? Why are you here? And when we say why are you here, it's not about like, okay guys, why are you here? Because I'm here. How did you get here? You know, by the bus, I got a taxi, I walked. No, like, even like how you got here could be like, well, you were born. What was the journey of your life to get to this point right now? Like, you've all got like an incredibly unique personal narrative that is the very thing that differentiates you from the person sat next to you. Why do you make the choices you make? If you think about it, we never give ourselves kind of time to reflect on our day, on our actions, on how we feel. And so this gives you the room and also kind of practice to help you think a bit more deeply, think within and beyond the surface. And as I mentioned before, it's like then how can you bring this identity of yours forward? We go through lots of different exercises. We even have like professionals come and give talks, artists deliver talks. We had Layla Saylor, funny name. She's a photographer and creative researcher, came and did a talk about how to do like creative research, etc. And then we do a lot of different projects, and one in particular is the My Thing project. So the My Thing project, it's really open, and for some people it's like, wow, what do I do? Because there's no answers, there's no frameworks, there's no rules, there's no boundaries. We do how we feel. And it's about creating a thing, something that communicates and expresses who you are as a person, as well as your practice, your creative practice. This student in particular was an introvert, and she really embraced solitude and just liked to be alone. At the same time, she was an incredible photographer, incredible. And she was able to just go to a place and take a picture that just captured that moment of silence. But then when she spoke about silence, she said, well, silence still has a sound. And so she was talking about like how to kind of physicalize and visualize the feelings and sensations of silence. She created this installation. This is 4D mapping. On all surfaces of the wall, and you were only one person allowed in that room at one time, and you sat at that desk, and it was like a manual of how to embrace the silence, how to reflect, how to be in solitude and find yourself, etc. And it was really amazing. And so you even had, like you see there, instructions of how to kind of embrace the solitude and sit in that environment. Another one example was Cynthia. She came from a religious background. Her mum was like an obsessed Buddhist. And she used to question the existence of God because she felt like the more I pray, the more I worship, the more I want, like I never get an answer. I never hear from God. And so she, in her mind, wants to create her own version of God. A God that existed in the digital world. And it was all about, like, for her, what God is like to her. And what she did as well was, she wanted it where the more that you tried to touch God, the more that you tried to pray to God, God disappeared. So she
日
created...
多精听，观自在菩萨，行深般若波罗蜜多时，照见五蕴皆空，度一切苦厄。舍利子，色不异空，空不异色，色即是空，空即是色，受相行识，亦复如是。舍利子，是诸法空相，不生不灭。 不垢不净，
So, the
不
more
增
she
不
prayed,
减，
she chanted,
是
you
故
see the
空中
God
无色，
reacts.
无受想行识。
And then here, can you see there's a sensor? She tries to touch and God disappears. Indeed, she's not like amazing at digital, so she collaborated. So in order for you to kind of achieve things and the outcomes that you want, don't just take it as like you have to do it all on your own. You know, there are people out there that you can collaborate with, work together, and, you know, create a strong message. So, design practice and ideation. Does anyone know what design practice means? Do you know what I mean when I say your practice, your design practice? Anyone? What that means? Anyone? So, when we talk about our practice, it's generally who we are as a person, as a designer, and the values that we have, and the way in which the notions that we explore through our work, and also reference to like our creative practice as well, our creative process that is unique to the practice, the way of doing things. And so, with this subject, it's all about establishing your design identity, your creative process, your values, your community, which is really important these days, and how you differentiate your work from other people. Again, it is about questions. Who are you as a designer? What are your design values? Who are you designing for? What is the purpose of your work? What are you trying to say? I think just to say that, okay, this work is inspired by, I don't know, butterflies and death metal isn't enough. You know, I think all of you and everyone should view their work as an opportunity to really connect with other people and address or highlight like key social, cultural, economic, environmental issues. You know, explore notions in a broader spectrum other than just like the superficial. So one way that we help our students as well through the process of establishing their practice, etc., is through the Me and My
Hi,
Practice
I'm
video.
Lynn. I live in Fujian, a very traditional place with many restrictions on women. So I have been very concerned about the phenomenon in women's lives. My project explores how women can use clothing to deal with the forces they encounter in their everyday lives. I focus on the gaze, which comes from society, family, and even ourselves, exploring the relationship between gaze and the female body. I asked women to circle their body parts that they felt were being stared at and integrate them together. The lighter the color, the more times they were selected, and then create models based on the images. The further depression, the more time it is selected. Then I put the model into the virtual mannequin and confirmed its position. Separate the models of various parts of the body, explore the perspective map, and extract the shape from it. I use this way to reconstruct the external gaze. Visualization to place the model on the mannequin to confirm its accuracy. Create a sleek model layout using Close3D. Sew it and place it on a mannequin to simulate the 3D silhouette and complete the conversion from 2D to 3D.
So one thing as well when we go through that design practice and ideation process is also for you to identify what your unique skills are. Indeed, Winnie came from a school that was really strong on technology and digital. And so she utilised everything that she'd learned and integrated that into her practice to make it the thing that the foundations of her work and her creative process. We also have professional practice. Now I know Eloy mentioned that you actively do engage in like industry collaborations, industry projects, and they're really important. Hong Kong indeed has a great, we have a great network with industry in Hong Kong as well as the Greater Bay Area, which is like Guangzhou, Shenzhen, etc. And the reason that we do this project actually is for you guys not only to learn the best industrial practices that are out there. And as well in the Greater BA area, what they're very advanced in is sustainability, sustainable practices. So even learning and understanding the sustainable practices that these top companies are actually developing and have implemented into their business. But for me, another really important thing is how you're able to express yourself, your individual voice, your personal point of view to a commercial brief for an existing brand. That, for me, is the most challenging aspect of it. The rest of it's easy. But that, in terms of how you're able to express yourself for an established brand, is really challenging. But a crucial, significant thing for you all to learn. So, for the last few years, actually, we've been doing a denim collaboration with Advanced Denim and Crystal Denim. Reason being is like the resources are amazing. The support that we have is amazing. And even like when students start making their final collections, they all get sponsored, the denim pieces, by these factories. So it's like a win-win situation. But another thing is like denim, for me personally, and I love denim by the way, is that it's a very, very unique product. It requires a niche set of skills. There's different processes, not just design, but finishing processes that you have to learn. And indeed, they have lots of different bits and aspects of it that can be integrated into other kind of product categories. But for me, it's like it has everything in there. And so, this is just some examples of students' work. Cheryl, and then at the same time as well, it's about how can you also integrate sustainability into your design. So here she's talking about using e-designer and laser technology from Genealogia. Also the choice of materials is really important. I don't know if you know, but 80% of a product's impact on the environment can be decided at the design stage. I don't know if you know that. I don't think you realise how much power and influence designers have on the future and of our industry, and in terms of the contribution that you can make towards making the industry more sustainable, making our world a better place. It's in there. I don't know if you're Ellen MacArthur. Go on the website, there's lots of different statistics, but indeed 80% of a designer's, 80% of a product's impact on the environment can be decided at the design phase by the designer. We also have virtual fashion creation. Does anybody like learn Clo 3D?
Yes.
Yeah, and Browseware and whatever? Any other softwares? Which other softwares?
Clo 3D definitely.
Yeah, but what about any kind of just general 3D software? Nomad, which is an easy one. Sharp 3D, yeah. C4D. Maya. Okay. Well, we introduce our students to Clo 3D because, indeed, it's where the industry is going, and actually, China in particular is so advanced when it comes to digital transformation beyond the West, that more and more companies are looking for people with digital skills. You even got brands that want people with digital skills, but they're like, we want digitalization, but we don't know how, so we need people to come and help lead us in terms of how we can implement virtual sampling into our design, our supply chain, into our design phase, etc. And so we take you through all the bits where all the foundations, all the fundamentals of Clo 3D, how to personalize your avatar, how to create kind of environments. You can even use AI feature on Clo 3D to kind of change the hair and makeup and physical features of your avatar. So it's really fundamentally incomprehensive. And then do produce videos like this. Casper was really good at digital at Clo 3D, and I don't know if you see, but he did all of his pattern making in Clo 3D, so it can become really helpful for you. It's not easy, it takes time to learn, and we don't expect everyone to use it, but I think introducing you all to it, I think will help you in the professional world going forward. One of the things we have really focused on is product development, product engineering. So we have fashion technology and product development. For us it's really important, and I think it's important for you guys, for you to understand how to develop a fashion product and how to utilise technology. Now, technology doesn't have to be really, really advanced. It doesn't have to be crazy, mind-blowing stuff. It can be very, very simple. But indeed, what we do is just introduce you to various levels of technology, and you're able to establish what works for you and what doesn't, and what is relevant to you and what you can utilise. Regardless where you work, whether it's for a big luxury brand, whether it's for a blue chip company, high street brand, whatever, like, you're gonna more or less have to work with the product development team a lot. So you need to have some knowledge of product development and engineering and understanding kind of a product workflow. And so we go through like all those fundamentals, like maybe you've done technical drawings, but you certainly haven't done full tech packs. And when I say full tech packs, I mean like even doing like grading rules. But like, indeed, you go to any company with something like this, they're going to snap you up. Trust me. I'm going to tell you that since we've been doing this, the employment rate generally from MA so students graduating within 3 months of graduating, I would say about 90 to 95% get a job. I'm not even lying. In fashion. In fashion. And so here as well, she's talking about how she would do digital, like e-prototyping to be more sustainable and integrate that into her practice. And that was her way of utilising technology. Now, who wants to do their own fashion brand? Who's ever wanted, said, oh, studying fashion, I want to be, you want to start a fashion brand? Want to start, anyone? I kid you not, when I interview candidates and I say, okay, so what is your plan for the future? You want to commit yourself to this master's, like, what is the future goal? And I would say around 80% of them say, I want to start my own fashion brand. Well, we are one of 2 MA design programs in the world that introduce students to fashion branding and support students to become an actual independent brand. You are introduced to the industry as a whole, and then the concepts of fashion branding, down to like how you even define the personality of your brand, the tone of voice, all of that, even down to like perceptual maps, consumer segmentation, everything, to the creative expression of your brand, all the visual stuff. And at the end, you produce like a brand manual that you can present to investors. Students that just graduated in 2024, we've got 2 that have just registered themselves as companies. And they're both actually going to be doing a pop-up event in Tokyo in December. But yeah, every year we help support them to just understand, actually, even if you don't want to become a brand, guys, you learn fundamental knowledge about like what makes a brand. So even when you go work for a brand, you know, it's giving you that extra bit of knowledge in terms of how they probably operate their business. Here's some examples. So even you go through like the brand identity. So even doing like your logo, or like where your logo would exist digitally on a mobile phone or wherever, all the different sizes and the pixels, etc. Establish who your consumer is and be really clear on that. Even down to like what they wear, what they dress, like the vibe. Identifying your core product, which is really crucial. A lot of brands have core product. Louis Vuitton bags, yeah? Rick Owens, the sneakers and the leathers, for sure. Coach bags. You know, every company has a core product, a core focus, so you would establish yours. This student, it was an avant-garde shirt. Then they designed the store. So we even utilize, and I speak with Eli, I think you guys are kind of not encouraged to use AI, but indeed in this example, our students were able to just kind of explore the visual, what their store looks like inside visually using AI, using Midjourney to just generate and render images. And so we get the full thing of like what the store looks like, and it's real, it feels so, so real, everything's considered. Even down to the website, even down to the packaging. And at the end, you produce a physical thing, a real physical thing, with like examples of your labels and everything. Now, each year we have a fashion show. For the first time ever, because normally we used to have it in Hong Kong, but this year we just had it in Shenzhen last weekend as part of Shenzhen Fashion Week. 13 students showed their collections, and it was quite I would say a new experience for us. Our plan is to be part of Shanghai Fashion Week. That's our plan. But our way to understand how to do shows in China, Shenzhen was a good way for us to kind of like stick our foot into the waters, test how it works, see how effective it was. And it was really, really successful, really successful. So I think for a while we're just going to be doing it at Shenzhen annually. And then, like I said, the plan is to be part of Shanghai Fashion Week for sure. This year as well, we have one of our students who's actual finalist for the MA category for Labelhood Utopia. This is some of her collections. So she presented that first, and then like 2 months later, she had to create this look. And it was all based on a song, so they had to like create an outfit for a song. So yeah, she came a strong second, unfortunately, she didn't win. Every year as well, we're also featured in magazines, so featured in Vogue, this is Vogue Thailand actually. L'Officiel, we were featured in not so long ago. Always, but most recently, who knows TNT? TNT. So this is Ding Xianjing wearing student's look. This has just come out, the Harper's Bazaar has just come out. I don't know if you've seen it, it's gone a bit viral with the video that they've done, etc. But yeah, and actually the stylist, this guy actually, so the student who designed this, he's the one who started as a brand. He's already got the stylist of this guy, Ding Xianjing, saying to him, okay, let's collaborate further. And that's all through Little Red Book, by the way, Little Red Book. Now, I've just gone through how the MA programme is now, but indeed I have we have submitted a revamped program proposal. So the revamp would be the program as it is now, and we call that fashion practice, but then also introduce a new study pathway, which would be digital fashion innovation. And I've got a really cool, amazing guy who was a designer at Versace, Burberry, Givenchy, all the big brands, currently located in Amsterdam, who is amazing at digital, like amazing, CGI amazing, to teach those specialist subjects related to that. So this is subject to approval, but I'm like 99.9% good that it will go ahead. And that will be implemented in September. When you apply, for me, there's two really important things that when you apply. It's your personal statement, and I think the important thing is when you do a personal statement, is don't try and give answers or say things that you think I or the place you're applying to want to hear. Generally not. The most interesting statements are the ones where they're just a very, very honest kind of introduction to who you are as a person and just why you want to do an MA. And it's just being real and honest. Don't give the answers that you think the place or the person you're applying to wants to hear from you. And it's same with portfolio. The thing about portfolio is, it's quite common practice, I know, where people use agencies to find an MA, tailor-made their portfolio, even help them make their portfolio to apply. Can I be very honest? Some of those portfolios that you're paying, I don't know how many R&B for, are some of the worst. I'm not going to lie. Because you tell there's nothing original, there's nothing sincere or authentic. It's the same layout, a load of information, and loads of things just put on one page. It's a weird page layout as well. And I probably get like 150 of the same thing. And you don't need to. There's lots of things, resources out there that can help you learn or figure out how to present your work in a portfolio. Another thing that I get, which is really important for me, is that you showcase what your skills are and how you define yourself as a creative, and also communicate your development thinking process. That, for me, is the most important thing than the final outcome. I don't care about a lookbook, if I'm being honest. I care more about the process, because that's where you can really show how you've applied and utilised your unique way of thinking and your perspective and implemented that into your work. Another thing I would say is, when you do a portfolio, don't think that you have to cover all of the things. So for example, if you're not a textiles person, you're not passionate about textiles, you don't need to put in textile development. Make sure everything that you put in there really represents you. Just don't throw everything in the kitchen sink. Let's be honest. So really think about it. And I feel that when you use these agencies, they're like, yes, you need this, you need this, you need this and then, you need this then. You don't. And you don't need to pay all that money. You can go on ArtsThread, you can go on One Granary, you can look at portfolios and just look at examples. But indeed, you've got a great team here that teach how to do portfolios as well. For our programme, the application deadline is 30th of April. Indeed, if you've got any questions at all, you can ask me now, or you can email me. It's no problem. I just want to say thank you. And I also want to say, follow me on Little Red Book. Follow our account on Instagram.
Oh, you got a dress.
So the Little Red Book is my personal one, but the Instagram one is the official MA one. Thank you. So does anyone have any questions? Anyone? And there's no wrong or right question. Anything.